Hi, Mark here. This video was inspired by a chat with a lady about a week ago, a former client of mine, and it inspired me to do this kind of video about changes or states or stages in life that we will all go through at some point. Whether you're there or not now is up to you to admit and accept and change if you want to. But this is what I thought the video could be about. Was the 5 stages are. The first stage is growth, and there's some rubbish business coaches out there that will tell you need to be growing all the time, you need to be expanding and getting bigger and better, and that's a bit of nonsense. We don't have to be expanding and growing all the time. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're in comfort zone, which I'll go into in a second. Now, if you're growing 120 miles an hour all of the time, trying to expand and take on new people and get it all in your brain, you'll have a heart attack by the time you're 50. You don't need to be at 120 miles an hour all of the time. We manage the states we're in. So growth is good, don't get me wrong, but it's not the ultimate state to be in 100% of the time at 120 miles an hour. It's just, it isn't. So, but growth is good, but it's got to be managed. So that's the growth stage. The next stage I'd like to talk to you about is the tragedy stage. And the tragedy stage is, it's a life-changing event. It could be the loss of a loved one, it could be the loss of a relationship or a prized possession or a job. I'm sure you've all been through a tragedy. By the time you get to my age, you will have definitely been through a tragedy or two in your lifetime, because life's got this weird habit of throwing them at us. They're uncontrolled, they're unexpected sometimes, and they're hard to deal with. And tragedy is tough. And this period can last from one day to a year or even longer. But if it lasts for longer, and it's not managed or not, it's left unchecked, it can lead to a downward spiral. Now, if you're in tragedy at the moment, then you don't need a business coach. I'm not for you, and I judge people. That's why when I'm chatting to people on the phone, I actually refuse to pitch them, because I'll only pitch somebody if the product's right and ready, and they're ready for it, or I'm ready for them. And if you're in tragedy, then go to a grief counsellor, because that's what they're there for. That's what they train for. That's what they're in. And I'm not a grief counsellor. I'm a business coach or a property coach, not grief. So get yourself a grief counsellor, get it managed, get help, and then get out of that stage of tragedy, or out of that state. The next one is the survival mode. And survival mode is a weird one. And I was talking to a lady just the other day who was in survival mode, and she inspired me doing this video for you, because survival mode is really weird. It's an odd stage, and from the outside, and you can spot these in your own network, I'm sure. Some people in your network will be in survival mode. Survival mode is where, from the outside, someone looks reasonably comfortable or content with what they've got. But you can tell them, you can spot them, because they don't buy new stuff. They don't buy new things for the house. They don't buy new cutlery or bed linen or towels, or they don't buy new clothes particularly, or not very often. They're very often, dumbed down's the wrong word. They're very often plain. The makeup's not done, it's not glamorous. It's more functional. Now, I'm not saying we all should be glamorous all the time at all. That would be rubbish. But everyone likes a bit of glamour every now and again. But we drop in survival mode. We drop to functional. I'm happy with my lot, and we can't get into growth. We can't get into comfortable, or can't get into any other state, because we're in survival mode. It's a really odd state to be in. But it needs to be managed. So acceptance and admittance that we're in the state allows you. That's the first step to allowing you to manage yourself out of survival mode. The next stage then is celebration, and celebration is arguably the best one to be in, and it certainly is good. That's when the champagne's flowing. That's when life seems excellent, and we've got what we want, and we're there, and we're a bit of growth and a bit of celebration. But celebration is an odd one, because it's still got to be managed. Celebration is where, if it's taken too far and too long, that can lead to arrogance, and arrogance precedes a downfall virtually every single time. And you see it sometimes on social media, where someone's living a champagne Charlie lifestyle, and then suddenly they go off the rails and they end up in jail. And I've just seen it recently in the property industry, where someone was living a champagne lifestyle, lovely cars, beautiful women on his side, and seemed like a different person every week. And suddenly he was caught. He had a car accident, and he's ended up in jail for harming somebody. So celebration should be done controlled, short term, but we should aspire to it and have them, because life can throw these little celebrations at us, unexpectedly, little quick wins, and celebrate them sensibly, and lose control every now and again. That's absolutely cool. But celebration's got to be controlled. The next stage, which is the last stage, is comfortable. And comfortable is probably one of the worst stages, certainly for an entrepreneur or a business person or someone that wants to expand, because comfortable is where, and you'll spot these, I'm sure you will. I use the train system quite a lot to get about in the country to coach. And I see these commuters on a train in second class quite often, and they're on the computer, they're pinging away, trying to do an email, and they can't quite connect because the internet service on trains is not very good. And they try to connect, and then they get a phone call, and the first thing they say on the phone call is, "I'm really busy, I'm on the train, and I might lose you," and stuff. And that's the typical train conversation on mobiles. And then they go back to their emails, and they're busy burrowing away, and they kind of look comfortable. They're reasonably smartly dressed. They look reasonably stable in life. But comfortable doesn't give you growth. It doesn't give you expansion. It doesn't give you a challenge. And we need to be challenged. Growth is about challenge. So what are the ideal states to be in? Well, the ideal states would be to have growth, managed growth at a steady pace, and sometimes, yes, too fast, as long as you know where you are and can accept and admit where you are. The odd celebration in life, because of course we need celebration, we need a bit of glamour, we need a bit of release, and then into comfort. So if we go growth for a period, manage the growth, then drop into comfort, have the odd celebration. We can't control the tragedies so much. That's really hard to control because it's usually unexpected and uncontrollable. But accept and move on, and accept and admit and move on and manage the tragedy as it happens. Get back into growth. Growth, celebration, comfort. Growth, celebration, comfort. If you drop into survival mode, then you need someone to help, and it's usually a coach that will help you get out of survival mode. If you're in tragedy, then a counsellor. If you're in comfortable, get a business coach. Whatever you get a business coach. You can chat to me if you want to. There's no pitch for anything daft. We'll have a chat and see what you're about, see where you are. And I'm a human being too, so I'm judging people. I'm seeing where they are, what stage of life they're at, and what state. And if I can help you, we can certainly take it further. If I can't, then I'll just tell you, or not pitch. So by all means, get in touch. I hope that helped. The 5 stages or states of being, and if you accept and admit the one you're in, you'll be able to manage yourself out of it to get to a different one if you want to. If you're happily managing growth, celebration, and comfortable, brilliant. Okay, my name's Mark, and I hope that helped, and I'll speak to you soon.